Okay, I'd like to call a meeting to order and ask you to please rise. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at this point, I'll open the meeting. We have any visitors who wish to speak. We have public access at the end also. Nobody at this point? Okay. Business, minutes of previous meeting. Gentlemen, January 12th, town board meeting.
I make a motion to approve those minutes.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Reports by elected officials and Department of Deputy Town Clerk. Rebecca.
Good evening. For January, we will be remitting $6,146 to the supervisor's office. In rounded amounts, this includes $2,583 in recycling sales. $1,874 comes from the recycling center, $709 from the town office. We had $2,250 in rental fees, which includes 15 new community center reservations. $463 in dog licenses, which is 9 original license, 69 renewals. $770 in miscellaneous fees, which includes $720 from Vital Statistics and $50 peddlers permits. And from DEC, we will receive $16.71 out of $590 in sales. Fishing is still happening, even though, as Bill says, the ice is thin. So,
All good?
and we are booked for the community center through mid-May.
Wow.
So calls are coming in consistently and very, very popular. We have dates all throughout the whole year, so.
Excellent. Okay, I thank you.
Make a motion to approve the.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Highway Department, Mr. Bailey. Come on up, Michael.
Evening, gentlemen. It's getting a little easier on me. This month, mostly what we did was we had 5 snow events. So I'm gonna go to them first, then I'll go over the little stuff. When we go out plowing, we take between 15 and 18 trucks. And 4 or 5 of them trucks have wingmen. So it's a big deal. The crew does a wonderful job. They come in 4 o'clock, 5 after 4. They're down the road moving. You should be real proud of them for their ability to do it. Kevin's been great. He's teaching me a lot and learning a lot. But with that, at the end of an 8-hour shift, then they start cleaning trucks immediately. The next day, they have to go with order sand, go pick it up, bring it back, put salt in the shed, mix it, and just get ready for the next day. And over the next 3 or 4 days, we'll send 2 or 3 guys out with a salt patrol, just looking for the icy spots, trying to take them out if we can find them. Then one gentleman has to run down the sidewalks on Route 7 all the way down through town, the snow thrower, clearing the sidewalks for the state, because that's part of our duties. A couple of guys will go out and push the snow back a little bit further, making sure that it's wind back in case we get another snow event. So 5 days worth of snow is actually 10 or 15 days worth of work. They do an excellent job on it. Very, very proud of them. Great job. On top of that, the last storm, all the heavy snow over by the Florida Country Club, every light pine tree fell on the ground. But, so we've been picking brush for days and days since that. So we back to the beginning here, cutting brush. We've got five men for 9 days, just going around trying to find all the limbs that are on the ground, get them gone. We were patching for 4 men for 5 days, finding good days where we could do that, just to fill the potholes so we don't wreck tires. And we cleaned the ditches, we had 4 men for 2 days doing that. The Christmas tree pickup, that was 4 or 5 men for 3 days. Just going around collecting Christmas trees. We're lucky we have a farmer that comes and picks them up and disposes of them and feeds them to his goats.
Eight of them, goat feet.
I don't know how they must have some. We did a little roadside cleanup, that worked out real good. They spread a bunch of garbage down a couple of the main streets, so we cleaned that up. Worked with the water department one day, taking care of a pipe that was exposed over by Hewitt Pond. That worked out real well, the weather was good for that. We installed military banners for 2 men for 2 days. And then one of the things that we did when the days were good was run along the back of the storage building down on the Gamers property and put a new back on it. Took all the wood off that was on it, put new board and batten on that. A couple of the other gentlemen within the town office, the shop offices, painted them all up, cleaned them, took all the old trim off and retrimmed them, cleaned the drive up.
Nice.
Looked real nice.
Pretty busy.
That's my report for you.
Pretty busy right now.
I'm not busy, my crew is, they do a great job.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Entertain a motion for
Highway
Mr.
you. Make it.
Mr. Haley's report.
I'll make it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Bradley, gee, no notes, wait, just gonna wing it?
Yeah, I left them in the office.
There you go, there.
Let's see how,
Just keep on you.
could be very skeptical here, so anyhow. We finished our water testing for the month. That's always a top list. So, one thing I wanted to comment on is the city of Troy had, as everybody's probably seen in the paper, had some issues with lead in the water and the lead service lines. I wanted the people and anybody who's like watching to understand that Troy tested 60 homes. I think the number may have been 4 of them had elevated lead levels. With the new criteria that's out there, you know, there's this whole push to replace all lead service lines. Not a push, it's a mandate now to replace them. So the city of Troy did receive a grant that was a grant that was predetermined. The qualifications for that grant were predetermined by the state health department. It was a matrix of median household income, elevated blood levels, the year that the home was built. There may have been another criteria in there. But that's what predetermined why Troy got money and why a community like ourselves is not eligible for that money. We don't meet those kind of criteria that's Loversville, Schenectady, Albany, et cetera. You know, the older communities with a lower social income level there. So we're kind of out on our own here, is that we have to complete the lead line survey. And then we have to come up with a plan on how to remove lead services, you know, in our community. And we may qualify at that point in time for some state revolving funds that after we put the plan together. But right now, to understand that there is no elevated lead levels in the water that we're drinking, and our own lead testing and lead service lines that we've done have not shown this year any elevated levels. So just for your benefit to understand that, so we can communicate that, and for any of the public that might be listening for that. The next thing is that we've completed our meter reading and got our billing that's going to go out next week. We're going to miss, for the first time in 11 years, covering the cost of water to the city of Troy and what we bill for water. About $35,000, you know, $32,000 separation. So,
Wow, that's not good.
so no, it's not good, but you know, it's like today we got a twofer today. Is that we had a lead service line and an unmetered line in the home because it froze up. So, you know,
there, I think this summer, I think there may have been, percentage of theft out there because of hot, dry summers. And we're finding 10% plus of people have taps in there. We just a home closed the other day, so that's 2 this week that we've come up with that need services that people can take water from us. So we're gonna have to strategize on how to maybe notify people, give them an amnesty period, do checks and everything else, so we gotta get control of that. And then we gotta get trouble over the fire departments and leaving hydrants running. We have had a number of those issues going on. So most of the things when I was out doing surveys, I spent some time last week. Hydrants have been the biggest culprit at the moment. So, that's that. And I don't know, like anything else?
Frozen pipe.
Oh, yes, it's the, we were out, it's a cold weather, helping keep out their frozen pipes. Troy Country Club had a pretty big spill over there. So, just getting called out different times of night.
Somehow we, as I mentioned, we gotta figure out these people who are bypassing the water and not paying us for what water they're taking. We gotta figure out penalties or something.
No, yeah, we absolutely do have to come up with a criteria how we're gonna, screen for that going forward, because as the price of water goes up, the incentive is for people to tap underneath the meter. And that's just, it's
So you find
it's not fair to all the individuals that are doing their fair share and paying for their water, and there's a percentage.
so you found one this week,
We found 2 this week.
so you wait a couple of weeks, go back and check the house again?
Yeah, well, that one is a closing, we don't offer up any closing papers until they fix it immediately.
Yeah.
Or they set aside money, to take and have the next homeowner fix it, and then we have a couple situations like that. Because they wait till the very last minute to say, oh. Now, the other thing that we actually were considering is the fact that I ended up buying a ProPress for fitting removal and repair and stuff like that, because we ran into a situation the other day that could have turned ugly on us, and we would not have been able to solder it, and there was no shut off on it, we did by freezing it. And the gas tank started to run out of gas, so I didn't want to take a chance. So maybe we should just, right then and there, maybe we should do if we can, if it looks like a repair we could do, we do a repair right then and there and charge them.
Yep.
That way it's just done and over with, and we aren't, like I say, going back and doing an inspection, because that's a real cost of doing business and driving vehicles around every town, particularly the other side of town. It's literally, $1 a mile if you think about it. So there's $20 out of our pocket right off the bat, driving one end of the town to the other.
Is there any advantage to putting a meter at the curb on all new buildings?
Absolutely. I think that's an absolute.
I don't know what the
It's going to add, the meter, it's going to add $1,000 to a new home.
That's a lot.
Well, but is it a lot? It's a lot for the homeowner, but if you can just go inside your house and tap under the meter and take water, well, then we're losing $1,000 year after year after year after year. Problematic. And again, it's 10-15% of homes. So that's just like a national average for people who do stuff that's not good. Any other questions?
Bill, what's the extent of our responsibility on the lead service line thing? Do we go to the curb cut or all the way to the
No,
meter?
we're responsible now to make sure that the lines are placed all the way
Into the home?
to the home. So when we go forward on this, we either have to have legislation that says you, the homeowner, must do this, or we'll shut your water off. And there's people that honestly, it's expensive. It'd be $3,000 to $5,000 seriously. So the other alternative is, we come up with a payment plan process and do it that way. We do the replacement, and then we have a payment plan with them. Or, we go in monthlies together in a state revolving fund, and we charge it off on the whole water district for the cost of doing business. But that would be something that, we have to have further discussion on.
First, we do a survey to see what we're up
Yes, exactly. And I don't think it's that bad, but you could do a good survey, just shooting.
Bill, these homes that are getting the free water, that are going through the meter, is it the entire home, or are they bypassing just certain things?
Well, the one today was only, most of them are bypassing the home totally.
So they would never get a water bill, correct?
Well, they will, because if you just side slip, most of these are set up as just side slip, fill your pool, water your lawn, or whatever. So let's say, for instance, I have about 600 accounts that are like 4,000 gallons and less. And I try to scrutinize those accounts really carefully to see if that's just, a single person living at that house, or whether it's an elderly person living at that house. Because there are people that literally do use very small amounts of water. But then when you take an average, let's say you take a look at Highland Creek, you have a bunch of retirees, you have some young people there and everything else, they're using on average about 200 gallons a day. So, that's a 36,000 gallons every 6 months. So when you look at that, and you look at somebody with 2 or 4,000, is it a bad meter? They're bypassing, or is it they're just very conscientious and conserving water? It's a very hard thing to parse out.
Well, if you have a total home that's totally bypassing the meter completely, then they will never have a water bill.
Well,
The
that
bill will
has
be
zero,
zero,
well, we
right?
have zero, we do have
We have
zero
zero.
accounts, we do, and those are the first on my list to go after.
Yeah, I mean, if they have zero, then they've got to use the water, right?
There's zero for a number of reasons, but most of them are side street. They're taking either water for their pool, water for their lawn, water they're like jumping it, so a percentage of the water goes to the meter, and a percentage of the water goes by.
Right.
So are those the people that are using 2 or 4,000 gallons?
How many homes are zero out there, approximately? Is there
I
one?
think this time around, we had probably about 40, somewhere in that range. And some of those were, we go back and look at them and say, why were they zero? Well, the house is now on the market, it's being sold,
There's zero.
there's somebody in a nursing home, the house has been, we tried to keep track of the bank-owned properties and stuff like that, go out there and shut their water off. We had one the other day, we went to shut the water off, because it's a flipper house. And actually, it was kind of a weird situation, we went to the wrong house. The house that we went to, because the person calling us saying, there's water coming out of the side of the building. Okay, so she gave us the wrong address, she gave us 5. So we went to 5, we saw a big gap in the window in the basement. So we shut it off there because we didn't want to freeze out and flow into that building. It ended up, it was 15 Kent Ave, and that person was so thankful that we tracked them down and left a message for them. They raced home and were able to, stop it from having any property damage because it's flowing down the wall. So whoever their neighbor was helped out, and we helped out further by stopping it. And then we took care of a potential situation with the house with freeze out. Little things, little wonderful things like that.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Entertain a motion for Mr. Bradley's report.
I'll make it.
Can I have a second?
Sure.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Gold. Superintendent of Utilities and Inspection.
Good evening, gentlemen. This is the report from the building department for January 2023. We had 129 building and property inspections, 132 active building permits, 8 permits issued and reviewed, 14 meetings, 2 planning board meetings, 1 zoning board meeting, 0 court cases, 3 fire inspections, 7 follow-up complaint and follow-up complaint code call-out inspections, 4 code call-out written inspections, 7 code complaints, 6 code complaint inspections, 0 vacant abandoned properties identified, 3 planning board projects, 2 zoning board projects, and 5 foil request searches. One thing I was happy to see about this cold snap is we didn't get any calls for the condos. It seems that the installation that they did over the summer has worked, at least for this cold snap.
Wasn't very prolonged, but.
No, it wasn't, yeah.
Well,
Yeah. But the history of that has shown that it was a strong wind as well, which we had with this one, so let's cross our fingers. Any questions?
Entertain a motion for Mr. Gold.
I'll make it.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I got a call from Brent Mason today about a couple of items, but he wanted me to point out and thank Mr. Golden and Mr. Bradley. He said,
Clemmy Show? Yeah, who would respond to Clemmy Show? It was all him.
Brenton, volunteer fireman for Mountain View. And he said it's very, very rewarding. In the middle of the night, if fire companies need a code enforcer, They can call on Chuck, it's been an accident. And the other night they had a water problem, and he says, Brent said he's got Bill's cell phone, I don't know how that happened. But he said every time he called Bill, he answered too. In the past, we've had situations where fire companies need cold in the middle of the night, cold officers. And we had a challenge finding our cold people. But we have not had any situation, firemen noticing that, and I just want to acknowledge, thank you guys for that.
I just like that, because you ended up.
Yeah, you
Pretty
did.
good.
That's another reason why I'm saying thank you. I go out and look at a chimney at 2 in the morning, and I'm not really sure what I'm looking at. He just said sign here. I don't think Mr. Chalky likes me signing it. No. I always sign Jim's name anyway, so it's all good. All right, where are we? Mr. Town Attorney, Mr. Chalky.
Yeah, I prepared the resolutions which are on the agenda for tonight's meeting. I attended and participated in meetings with staff and outside counsel on various matters at town office on January 17, January 24, January 30, January 31, and February 6. Worked with the highway superintendent on some personnel issues. I worked with the supervisor's office on a purchasing issue. Worked with the building department regarding some outstanding code violation and complaints and other outstanding matters. Continue to be involved in internal discussions regarding issues pertaining to large-scale solar projects in the town and matters to be pursued during the recently enacted moratorium. Been working with outside counsel on a litigation matter. Worked with the assessor regarding formalities required to appoint a new member to the Board of Assessment Review after the resignation of the sitting member. Worked with our insurance carriers counsel on an insurance coverage issue. Worked with outside counsel and some board members regarding possible zoning amendments pertaining to cannabis. And as always, I performed legal research, provided legal opinions, and reviewed or prepared legal documents as requested by various town officials or employees.
Thank you, sir. Motion for Mr. Chalky's report.
I'll make it.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town historians, come on up, Tracy. Got any history this month?
A little bit. I've been left to my own devices to do some research. So this month I've been working on, some of you guys may know the Vista Grande Farm that is located in Thompsonville, going up towards Grafton. I remember hearing stories about it when I was younger. It used to be quite the farm in its day. So one of the owners of the place was an interesting gentleman. His name was Charles Rodriguez, and he was born in Spain. And he came here in the 20s. He lived in Troy. He was actually one of the owner of the Boston Eaton Grocery Markets in Troy, and 3 chains plus the farm, because he used to sell his market cheese goods at the store. He started the farm in 1926, and it was a nationally famous farm as a breeding place for the Ayrshire, am I saying that right?
Ayrshire.
Yeah, cattle. So they are, unlike the black and white Holsteins that we're used to seeing, they have red and white markings instead. So I have never seen one. Pictures up there. Do you have any?
No.
No? I did.
Buy one, Tracy. Have one.
The Trzynski used to have a lot of them.
Oh, did they? Okay. Because I know you just don't see that breed around here much. But it was said that these cows can be milked longer than normal cows. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but sometimes. So, as I said, he not only had the dairy farm, but he did run the grocery store. He had one on Pulling Avenue and 2 in North Troy. And what I found interesting is in a newspaper article in the 40s, it stated that Mr. Rodriguez was one of the largest dairymen in the county, and at the time he had 160 cows.
Wow.
So I don't know back then if 160 was, well, it must have been because he's basically.
Especially they're milking by hand.
Well, you don't know, back then, right?
Right.
And since his death in 1959, the farm has been divided and sold many times. I reached out to Julian, the assessment. I'm trying to figure out the file. It's very confusing. This land is divided and sold and stuff. So that's been kind of interesting.
Everybody heard of Visky Granny Farm?
Yeah, actually, I was going to bring a milk bottle and I forgot. I got one at home. I got a phone call last week from someone that has family buried in Forest Park, and they just wanted me to help locate a grave, which I know where it is, so wait till springtime and I'll bring her up and show her where it is. And I have been helping with the water department. They are trying to help, they wanted me to help locate the curb boxes that they had drawn maps from, not sure if they were 30s, 40s, 50s, because they only have the old RD numbers and not the up-to-date numbers. So Bill asked me if I could look into the census and figure out,
Probably more things than you need.
you know, jack of all trades, master of none,
Amazing, isn't it?
isn't it? So that's all I got
Is the
tonight.
water department paying you for that?
I'm doing that to kindness of my heart.
You gotta do
Yeah.
negotiation.
After 4 o'clock. Mr. Grandy farm owns some land way up on Tamarack Road that we purchased from Mrs. Howe. who
Yes.
made it, so
Yes.
that was good, so.
Very nice.
All right, very interesting. Entertain a motion to approve the town historian report.
I will.
One second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, recycling coordinator, they tell me to do it tonight. The Brunswick Community Library. Sarah? Hi, Sarah.
Hello, I'm here with my board member, Grace Kuzinski tonight.
Hi, Grace.
So for the month of January, we had 2,032 visitors. We answered 258 reference questions. Our Wi-Fi was used by 191 unique users. Our technology was used 113 times. Study spaces 244 times. We processed 31 passports and handed out 38 COVID tests. Our items were circulated 6,687 times, and our programs were attended 475 times. Some of our highlight programs include a writer workshop with local writer Colin Paratori, and an owl and raptor workshop, not workshop, but an owl and raptor visit from Wildlife Institute of Eastern New York. Upcoming on Monday and Tuesday, February 13th and 14th, we have a $5 to fill a tote bag book sale at the library to help raise money. And on February 20th, President's Day, from 4 to 6, we have an adult clothing swap. People can bring clothes and take clothes home. It's completely free, and it's a really nice, eco-friendly way to refresh your closet and get something new. Any questions?
Excellent.
I love that. It's really fun. I really recommend it if you are available and want to clean your closet. Come on over. Thank you so much.
That sounds
Can't wait.
Entertain a motion for the library.
I'll make it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Deputy Town Clerk, Rebecca, we have any resolutions tonight?
We have quite a few. So resolution number 23 of the year 2023, resolution appointing member to Board of Assessment Review of the Town of Brunswick.
Offer it.
I'll second it. This is Robert Welch. We had a member of Assessment Board of Review that moved, so it's been open.
The foregoing resolution was offered by Councilman Sullivan and seconded by Supervisor Harrington. Roll call vote. Councilman Sipperly.
Aye.
Councilman Christian is absent. Councilman Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilman Ballesteri.
Aye.
Supervisor Harrington.
Aye.
The foregoing resolution is adopted. Resolution 24 is a resolution approving certified list of volunteer firefighters of the Brunswick Fire Company Number 1 who have earned at least 50 points during the calendar year 2022 under the Length of Service Award program known as LOSAP, sponsored by the town of Brunswick for the said fire company, thereby qualifying them for a year of service credit and directing that the said certified list be returned to the fire company for posting for a minimum period of 30 days.
Offer it.
I'll second it.
The foregoing resolution was offered by Councilman Sullivan and seconded by Supervisor Harrington. Roll call vote. Councilman Sipperly.
Aye.
Councilman Christian is absent. Councilman Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilman Balistrary.
I abstain.
And Supervisor Harrington.
Aye.
The foregoing resolution is adopted. Resolution 25 Resolution approving certified list of volunteer firefighters of the Volunteer Fire Company of Center Brunswick who have earned at least 50 points during the calendar year 2022 under the Length of Service Award Program, sponsored by the town of Brunswick for the said fire company, thereby qualifying them for a year of service credit and directing that the said certified list be returned to the fire company for posting for a minimum period of 30 days.
I'll offer it. Second.
The foregoing resolution was offered by Councilman Sipperly and seconded by Councilman Sullivan. Roll call vote. Councilman Sipperly,
Aye.
Councilman Sullivan,
Aye.
Councilman Balistrary,
Aye.
and Supervisor Harrington.
Aye.
The foregoing resolution is adopted. Number 26, resolution approving certified list of volunteer firefighters of the Mountain View Volunteer Fire Company who have earned at least 50 points during the calendar year 2022 under the Length of Service Award Program, sponsored by the town of Brunswick for the said fire company, thereby qualifying them for a year of service credit and directing that the said certified list be returned to the fire company for posting for a minimum period of 30 days.
I'll offer it.
I'll second.
Roll call, the foregoing resolution was offered by Councilman Sullivan and seconded by Councilman Sipperly. Roll call vote. I'm sorry, am I messing up?
Balistrary.
Balistrary, I get you too.
We're both marked.
No, you're good, you're good, you're good.
Roll call vote. Councilman Sipperly.
Aye.
Councilman Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilman Balistrary.
Aye.
And Supervisor Harrington.
Did you note that
The foregoing resolution is adopted.
Note that, Gordy, that,
Gordy, I'm sorry, okay. And Councilman Christian is absent.
they give you all the long ones to read, you know?
Yeah.
Usually they're one sentence.
The last two are
That Bill-
short.
He's a smart
I
one.
think you need to get that.
It's my debut. Number 27, resolution to accept the water and sewer maintenance role for the period of July 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2022.
I'll offer it.
I'll second it.
The foregoing resolution was offered by Councilman Sullivan and seconded by Supervisor Harrington. Roll call vote. Councilman Sipperly.
Aye.
Councilman Christian is absent. Councilman Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilman Balistrary.
Aye.
And Supervisor Harrington.
Aye.
The foregoing resolution is adopted. Resolution 28, resolution authorizing order and purchase of 2 trucks and associated equipment for the town of Brunswick Highway Department.
I'll offer it.
I'll second it.
The foregoing resolution was offered by Councilman Sullivan and seconded by Supervisor Harrington. Roll call vote, Councilman Sipperly.
Aye.
Councilman Christian is not present. Councilman Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilman Balistrary.
Aye.
And Supervisor Harrington.
Aye.
The foregoing resolution is adopted. Thank you.
No, step back and relax, you'll do fine. All righty. Rebecca, we have any correspondence?
We do. We
We
have
do.
2 letters from the same couple.
Oh, that's nice. We like that. Well, I shouldn't say anything, I haven't heard. Go ahead.
Dear Mr. Bailey, we would like to thank you and your department for helping us with the tree that fell during the snowstorm this week. This was from January 27. When we left a message requesting assistance, we never expected such fast and thorough service. The 2 young men who came to assist were more than helpful. They cut up the tree and moved it to the side of the road for pickup in the spring. When the tree fell, it landed on our mailbox and crushed it. The next day, while we were out, a temporary mailbox was erected for us. We were so surprised at the generosity of your department. This morning, we heard some noise outside, and when we looked, we saw your workers cleaning up the broken limbs and carting them away. Your department, under your direction, has gone above and beyond, and we are so grateful to live in a community that values its residents. Thank you once again, as well as Supervisor Harrington, for having such an amazing team. With much appreciation, John and Marie Clinton, 80 Bot Lane.
Nice. Keep that letter and read it again next month. That's very nice. Nice.
And a humble letter. So, dear Ms. Delgazo, well, we would like to thank
You didn't
you.
read that first?
Does your hand reach that far?
I did not write this.
Oh.
I did encourage it, though. We would like
Don't
to
listen to Tracy.
We would like to thank you for helping us with obtaining our marriage license. Since it has been a few years since we went down this path, we needed help getting started. Your kindness and enthusiasm certainly made our path down the aisle a piece of cake.
Wow.
The town clerk's department, under the direction of Bill Lewis and with an outstanding deputy, was such a pleasure to encounter. We are so grateful to live in a community that values its residents and is always happy to help. Thank you once again, as well as Supervisor Harrington, for having such an amazing team. With much appreciation, John and Marie Clinton, 80 Bot Lane.
Wow. You sure you don't have a form letter there somewhere?
Hey, I want to tell you, we didn't get a letter, but a New York City fireman came in and congratulated Chuck and I for sitting down and talking to him, because he said, you never get this downstate. So I just wanted you to know that she isn't the only nice pretty face here, you know, there's some nice faces over here too.
Well,
Type a letter, just kind of slide it in there.
Well, once we found out this person was writing the letter for the highway department, I said, hey, we went above and beyond for you. What about us? Just,
It's all good.
they were
All
wonderful.
good. Excellent, very good. I didn't expect any correspondence. Gentlemen, we get any old business?
No.
Any new business?
We did have a meeting of the Public Safety Committee
Excellent.
last week, well attended. We did have sitting in with us this time, John Large from Mohawk Ambulance, as well as the new regional rep, Mary Wilkie, introduced herself and gave us an idea of where they're headed as far as, you know, taking care of problems that have been outlined at the same committee in the past. It was an encouraging meeting. Information was well received by the representatives of all the fire departments who were in attendance. The other hot topic of that committee has been retention and recruitment, and the folks were excited to hear about the program that may be coming into play with the property tax exemption and reduction, you know, to a limited degree. Anxious for the details of that to be coming out. All in all, well attended, information well received. We'll do it again in a couple of months.
Excellent, very good. I was driving down, run to the bank the other day, I got by the hardware store, and Mohawk Ambulance was coming up through. And all of a sudden, the lights came on, the sirens came on, I said, what is that about? And then my scanner went off, or my phone, got my phone hooked in. And they had an accident over Route 2. So Mohawk responded before the fireman even got the call. I mean, I know that's a rare thing, but that's pretty impressive. So if I had time, I would have turned around and watched that, but that was a good thing, so. Excellent. Any other new business? You know, one thing our deputy town clerk suggested to me, and I think we need to look into it, possibly having, and we're just gonna look into this, permits for the recycling center, like we have the town beach and stuff. We used to have that. Town residents would receive them, there'd be no charge. But what's happening now is, as you know, we're very good allowing people to bring brush in and tree limbs, so on and so forth. But grinding them up, I mean, we pick them up too, the town, but we let people bring them in. And it cost us almost $50,000 this year to have them ground. But what we're finding is there's commercial people coming in from out of town, City of Troy, Green Island, somebody cuts a tree down, brings it up and dumps it here. So we're considering permits, which would be kind of easy, so I think we need to look into that. Plus, we have a situation with tires. I believe I'm hearing the City of Troy charges, how much, $20? Some crazy number for tires. So guess what? We're charging like $4, so.
Now
So what happened, we were charging $4, and I'm quite sure that people were riding around Troy saying, you know, I'll pick up your tires for $8 and save them and come up here and throw them out for $4. But Councilman Christian was able to arrange for a company to come in and pick them up. It cost us $4.50 a tire. They took everything. Mike had one of the highway guys count them when we're loading. And we've just raised our fee up to $8 because they're talking about the tire prices increasing. Again, a permit would be helpful, so we just need to look into that. All right, anything else?
Yeah.
Oh, come on up, grab that mic.
I'm
Gotta
only
have,
here because I
have,
thought my neighbor was coming here
gotta
tonight.
have your name for Rebecca.
Name and
Melissa
address.
Jerome,
Can you please spell your last name?
Jeromike.
Yes, Melissa.
My neighbor wants to subdivide his land
On
on
Bald
Bald
Mountain.
Mountain, and I'm fine with it.
Okay.
Used to be my parents' land and taxes. And I also would like Bald Mountain paved. Thank you.
Yeah, we did part of that, right?
You did, but there's a lot of water up there, and,
Yeah.
but I have no problem. I think he's a nice guy, he's doing well, and it's a lot of money on taxes, so I thought he would be here tonight, but he's not, so.
Probably in front of the wrong.
Yeah, I'm gonna have Mr. Golden come up and say something. It's really a planning board issue, not a town
It's,
board.
well,
The subdividing.
it's, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I
you're
live
okay
there.
with it.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
My brother has land there. I
Yeah.
think we're all okay, like, he has built I don't think he's gonna build a water park.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think a rumor came out there's gonna be a big subdivision up there, which got everybody's attention, but that's not the case. He just split some
Can't
land off.
happen. You talk to
Right.
Mark Jansen.
Yeah.
It's not possible. There's water,
There's hills,
it's not possible.
I know your parents' land, so.
Yeah, I know, and I'm just saying, he seems like a nice guy. I thought he'd be here tonight.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
We can pass the information on.
thank you.
you're welcome.
We're good. Okay?
I know that.
No, come on up.
Okay, I didn't know if this was like officially.
Right.
Jennifer Mann, 91 Hill Road. The Owl and Raptor program at the library was sensational, and it was funded by a grant from Stewart's, so just another reason to support Stewart's. They're fantastic. And Bill, your report was very interesting tonight. We leave your notes behind every time. It was very eventful this month. You said that Troy tested 60 houses and found 4 had elevated levels.
I believe that was the number.
And did you say you did some testing in Brunswick?
We're required to do testing. There's a protocol that we go through, and the consolidated district, which is everything except the 142 Brunswick Meadows, and then Legacy Road, the 2 different districts over there.
Yeah.
So we're required to do 20 samples, and we target those houses that we know have lead services. And so anybody who knows that they have a lead service, that we added onto that list, because they're tested first.
Okay.
And we did not have any come back with elevated levels.
Oh, goodness, thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Anybody else at this point? Jim?
I thought you were gonna do
Pay the
paying your
bills.
bills first.
Well, we're gonna do that. I got a circle up here. I won't leave it on doing that. We're on a roll now, so.
Jim Tatchik, 387 Brunswick Road. I just wanted to ask, does the town have a coherent, detailed plan for sidewalks on Chichester Avenue?
The planning board, when they do different projects,
Right.
you know, we've talked to Russ Oster and everybody about incorporating. I don't think we get any details there.
You know, as it's in, I go to a lot of the planning board meetings,
Yeah.
especially like what I call big projects.
Yeah.
And over, one of the last 15 years or so, well, not recently, when they're building all the apartments, you know, from Highland Creek.
Yeah.
Up through, up over the hill, and then onto Chesney Avenue Extension, and on the Chesney Avenue proper. They would, as we're reviewing each project, they would get the builders to do accommodations of these, of the extension, generally just shoulder extensions for pedestrians. But then, so it goes from pretty much Rouse up over past the pond, and then across McChesney, and on the Walmart side of McChesney, it goes to the back entrance to the Walmart parking lot. That's the end of it. So, you know, there's a surprising number of pedestrians. I don't know if people ride on McChesney or not. No, not a lot of people, but you know, I go to Planet Fitness a couple times a week and go shopping over there. And more times than not, there are people walking. I see people walking with dogs, with kids, baby carriages. I saw a guy with a rolling walker, one of these things. But you're stopped at the back entrance for Walmart, and from going from there to getting over to Hoosick, you're on a shoulder that's got, you have about this much pavement outside of the painted line. There's just no space to walk, especially in the wintertime. So I was wondering, and then when the medical building, when that project came up, there was discussion of having them put a sidewalk in to go toward Hoosick. And they asked, what's the town's plan? And the town really didn't know. The planning board had to say, well, we don't have a plan. You know, how, so, and then they sort of dubbed this, the medical people, but the project, just dubbed this the sidewalk without a destination, which I've heard other people repeat. And that's, you have a sidewalk segment. That segments don't have destinations. They're going to be coupled with, you know, the rest of this path. And especially I view this the sidewalk segment from where the medical building's going to over to Hoosick. That's the first segment of a sidewalk, and the destination of that is McChesney Avenue. Because there's going to be a lot more, you know, businesses and development down there. You're going to have to accommodate something for the safety of pedestrians. I don't know. What is there a formal process that? Because the planning board has been very conscientious and consistent about getting the sidewalk, at least something for the pedestrian walkway. And then after that, they have no. After that project's been approved, they have no power to go back and say, "Oh, you have to put this in." The town does it. The town has that authority. You know,
Didn't they ask for all money, the medical people, in case?
I don't think as far as I can tell, they didn't decide on even which side of the road the sidewalk would be on. You know, right now it's on the inside of that curve, right? If they.
I thought I read something that the medical people were saying, do you want us to encourage people to go get out on that road and walk? Because it's sharp, bends, and dangerous, where you gotta walk out in front, you know, all along 7, the sidewalks. I thought I read something about they were concerned about encouraging people to walk on the side there.
I don't know where you read that.
No, I talked to the people that were gonna build it, that's what he said to me. He said, I'm just a little concerned. I said, well, voice your concern as the planning board, you know.
Well, I went to all the meetings, you know, with that including public hearing. I think it was up in the air. You know, for example, if you're if you extend the existing walkway around the inside of that curve, right? Then you're going to have to cross that road somewhere. You're going to have to put in, for example, crosswalks. You know, I don't think that they've defined a path for the sidewalk or how far it's going to go from the medical building. I don't. You know, they were talking about getting it only over to the entrance to go down into the plaza. That's like a third of the way. There's still no sidewalk going from there over to Hoosick. So, is anybody planning this? I mean, is there anybody in the town with any
We've kind of left it up to the
responsibility?
planning. John.
Yeah, that's the only place I know where it's been built. is the planning board.
Well, I've got a feeling if this, once the medical building gets put up, and there's no sidewalk there, there's no impetus for those people to put a sidewalk in there. Unless it's on the conditions for the construction of the building. And they haven't, a path for this has not yet been defined. So,
I thought in the minutes there was gonna be a condition for that.
It went back and forth there. I thought there was some money put aside.
Yeah, so
There is money,
Chuck.
there is money in escrow for a sidewalk.
yeah, so I thought.
The medical building.
Hey, Chuck, come up, grab that mic.
The medical building can put a sidewalk on their own property. They can't extend it into other people's property. That
Right.
portion of the roadway is county owned.
County road.
So there is a widened shoulder that does come from the second fire entrance of the summit.
Yeah.
Down, all the way down, as Jim explained, right over to the back entrance of Walmart. And you're right, at that point, there's nothing, but from that point on, it's private land. And as the developer was stating, sidewalks they're a liability.
That's what I.
You can have a sidewalk on your property, and they have money escrowed for that, but that's where it's going to be, the sidewalk on their property. It's not gonna go any further this way, it's not gonna go any further that way, until the residents give right of ways for this.
Yeah.
And again, it's on their property, and it's a liability.
well, there's right of ways associated with this road too, though, the county road.
Right,
So,
okay.
But, if you just let it sit as it is, there's never gonna be a sidewalk. I think Chuck's right, I think they were gonna take that, I'm not sure what the extent of their property is, they were gonna go into their property. So, I think the town has to take some action to to extend that, over to Hoosick.
On the county's.
On whose property?
You'd be crossing Nigros at that point, I would assume.
It's a weird easement, it'd be mostly county, possibly some not.
So you're not saying that you can't put a sidewalk on the county right away associated with the road?
We can, the county can.
The county.
Let's go after the county then.
Well, or you could go to the county legislature.
No, I'm done, like with we've had our interactions with the larger bureaucracies for public safety, right? I think the town has a responsibility for this.
Well, you're certainly entitled to your opinion, Jim, and you've raised it.
Just so you know, Jim, that when Highland Creek was constructed and they brought the water line all the way through, we wanted to extend the shoulder through there and get the county participation to extend that shoulder just so they could walk up all the way up there to Rouse.
Right.
The county,
And that always erodes that area too.
and the county would not participate.
Well, but they did get it from Rouse down.
That's because we pushed it through and we didn't have enough
That was being
language, but that was quite a push just to get that done as part of the,
Well, that was on,
that's the Duncan Meadows subdivision.
yeah, that was on, part of it was the private property, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because it went in front of all those, so it was all on private property, not really on county. if I
Some of
remember.
it was, some of it was on the county's extended. We were able to get that pushed through, we get the developer to pay for that. It just didn't work on the other side. Because it actually, just, the county not keen on it. I don't know why, there's more room to push snow and everything else, but I don't know.
Well, this is a commercial, a newly commercial area, and they're getting more and more businesses now. You get more and more, pedestrian traffic, very likely. Okay.
All right, thank you. One thing I will say, when it comes to sidewalks down Route 7, the state put them in, the town did not put them in, and that was part of they put them in and said, listen, you're gonna take care of it, the town. And I will say, our highway department, if you pay attention in these snowstorms, the minute we get our roads taken care of, we go down there and we clear those sidewalks along Route 7 very, very quickly. I've seen other towns, and I'll say it, even the city of Troy and stuff struggle to get their sidewalks clean. But the sidewalks we had got, Michael and his crew did a nice job of that, so
Yeah,
that's a good
they're
thing.
the best.
Right.
They're really good at billing.
All right, any other comments, anybody?
Warrants,
Make a motion to approve our bills.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. At this point, entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make it.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Who was the last, who was the last? Oh,
Thank you, young lady.
I'm sorry.
Hey, Bill.
Thank you very much.